What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for your Overwatch with another huge news roundup. A combination story of the Overwatch League's next moves alongside with the release date for Overwatch 2 coincides together because, of course, Blizzard isn't going to be content with the numbers that they've been getting with the league itself and should look to make moves to give both of them momentum moving into next year. In an article on GG Recon, it was leaked that the league is having internal discussions about the format of the league itself, and allegedly they're looking to add Asian teams, add a mid-season tournament where both teams play against each other, similar to the grand final, and overall moving to a tournament-based format rather than a weekly league style format. That's all great, but the kicker is that they're going to have a delayed start, pushing it back to April, a couple months after they normally do. And hey, why would they want to start later than normal next year, I wonder? Well, as we've previously covered, Metro adds on to these rumors in saying that yes, indeed, this delayed season start is to make sure that they can launch with Overwatch 2, which seems to confirm his belief that the beta will be launched at BlizzCon in February, last for 2 months, and then Overwatch League and the sequel will officially launch in April. Now, the impact the sequel could have, I think, is going to be more transformative than people were led to believe, and we'll get into discussing that with the other news stories in the video. But first, some current Overwatch news. Soldier 76's heavy pulse rifle had its camera shake reduced to make the recoil feel smoother. This was a complaint that came through once they added the new recoil system to the game, and so hopefully you can lock the legs again without getting nauseous from playing with this change. Next up, similar to how you can earn skins from watching the Overwatch League, you can tie your Blizzard account to the Overwatch Contenders website to earn the green and white home and away skins for Overwatch Contenders. It says here they're going to be giving away the Genji skin, and if you watch enough hours, you can work your way up to a Symmetra or Mercy skin, and I assume as time goes on, they're going to trickle out this Contenders color variant for all the characters. So it'll be interesting to see what this does to the Overwatch Contenders viewership, which has gone down somehow from the already really low points it was before. Next up, Seagull posted a video I was happy to see, where he gives a glowing review of the state of Overwatch right now, claiming that it's the best it's ever been, stating a lot of the reasons that we did in a recent video as well, mainly directed at the power creep nerfs. But what I thought was interesting was Seagull's details on the method that Blizzard used to get us to this point and what they hopefully should use with Overwatch 2 coming out. And that is rapid experimentation, frequent balancing. They went from once per month to twice per month, and with new content and a host of new characters coming out with the sequel, they're going to need to do that and then some, perhaps, in order to keep the game in the good state it's in now. It was nearly 2 years ago that Seagull made his State of Overwatch video that went viral, discussing how the game had become more about just counter-picking and existing as the right character rather than playing the game, which I and many players agreed with. As Seagull states in his current State of Overwatch video, in the power-up era of Overwatch, all the DPS got buffed to the max in order to compete with the wacky sustain. All that's been brought back down, and we're in a much more reasonable state of the game now. I am concerned that the sequel might have to go down a similar power creep route when they add content, but hopefully they learn from their mistakes and walk the tightrope of adding fun, interesting mechanics, but also not letting them overwhelm the gameplay, and make sure that skill and teamwork are the major ways you gain value in the game, like we have now, regardless of what the meta is, because if that's the case, at least ranked will play well. Trying to use balance to fix meta was a huge mistake that I'll get into later, but first I want to remind everyone how transformative Overwatch 2 may actually be, because Blizzard has already shown their hand with this. They publicly revealed the 1-3-2 experiment that tried to rebalance the entire game to help fix queue times and play around with the fundamental foundation of Overwatch gameplay. That ultimately wasn't going to come to bear, but I think we need to be ready for Overwatch to possibly take a big jump into an entirely different style of play, because they've already shown that that level of experimentation is what they're looking for the sequel. So whatever changes that transform Overwatch PvP when the sequel drops, I hope that they stick to this new correct philosophy that's been working. Otherwise, there's a chance that the sequel makes the PvP worse, despite a lot of players probably going to be coming and a lot of fanfare around the sequel coming out, I'm a little bit nervous. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. There's a whole nother set of considerations they have to worry about for team-based Overwatch, and any concerns of meta stagnation they have in that department, I don't think they should balance for everybody, because that was the mistake that unraveled this meta merry-go-round that we went on for a couple years, not really respecting the differences in the levels and formats of play. We go about to discuss this and many other subjects in a podcast I was on with SVB, where we mentioned hero bans briefly, but a key takeaway for me is that if Blizzard wants to add meta diversity to Team Overwatch or Pro Play, rather than using balancing tuning in order to engineer that to happen, they instead have to go to a format change of some description. I'm much more open-minded on what this can be, but a simple loser picks one hero to ban in a pro series, or the sort of snake draft ban that we saw in that Overwatch League show match. Jeff stated that he wished that offensive and defensive heroes could have been limited to different sides of the map. I don't think that's going to happen, but other creative solutions to force players to pick other heroes could be in the works. I'm excited by the idea of like a draft where maybe you draft 10 or 12 heroes and then you can swap in the match among them. There's lots of ways you can go about doing it, but the one way we know they can't go about doing it is balance the game for the entire community in order to try to get the pros to play something different this week or month. That's kind of ridiculous. Otherwise, in the podcast, we discussed 2CP, Push, the new game mode for Overwatch 2, and other potential new game modes, the benefits and weaknesses of roll lock, and as well the future of the Overwatch workshop. Key point for me is that I think that the workshop needs an incentive structure built into your player profiles similar to the systems in place for creators in Mario Maker, which might sound funny, but the curation of that is pretty incredible, where creators of stages in that game are incentivized to make new stuff based on the social aspects of it, where the thing they make is tied to their account. It gets rated by the players that play it, which just helps discoverability and the overall enjoyment of trying out new things. Whereas right now, the system we have is the mode themselves is disconnected from the creator, and there is no curation. You just go into the custom game browser, see a list, and hopefully you find something you like. It's too hard to find anything good. Last up for the video, Seagull's in the news again, tweeting out that the Overwatch League desperately needs a players association, posting a picture of a long list of pro Overwatch League players that are currently looking for a team being released, rather than being re-signed onto their current team. Seagull says, with Overwatch 2 on the horizon, poor viewership, and a rumored late start, teams are incentivized to drop players and save money. Why spend money on talent that might not be talent when Overwatch 2 hits? I think this plays into quite a few of the concerns we've already discussed in today's video, and the truth is, because we don't know how the game's going to change, how the meta is going to change, what rules are going to matter, what they're even going to be playing, because the game's not out yet, pro players are really getting the short end of the stick, at least in comparison to other esports pros. It kind of sucks being an Overwatch pro, because unlike other esports, the skill sets are just incredibly varied. You can go from being the best in the league on one hero, then all of a sudden need to play another one and be one of the worst. One of the best examples for me is a player that many would deem the greatest of all time, Prophet, seemingly can pick out any hero he wants, but struggled when it came to playing Echo when she came out this year and was the meta pick. Overwatch League teams don't want to have to pay for veteran talent that they have no idea if it's going to last, with new up-and-comers coming in to take their place. Shoutcaster ZP chimes in with a dissenting opinion, saying that I don't think that's what's going on at all. I assume he means in relation to Overwatch 2 shaking things up and the league itself losing viewership and momentum. ZP goes on to explain that he thinks teams are making big moves in order to attempt to win, not be frugal, because who wants to stay on a roster of players that isn't getting anywhere? Bringing up players like Moth and Dante, both of who were released, despite always looking strong in matches, are proven talents still in their prime that will have zero issues being re-signed. I guess we'll have to see if ZP's theory is correct, if we see teams go to scoop up a lot of these veteran players, or if they're instead going to try to take the budget route for this next year with so much uncertainty up ahead. It's a little bit unfortunate that there's such a conflict between the Blizzard studio releasing the game and the Overwatch League itself, which are two separate entities, where the Overwatch League has to set trade deadlines and rules for a game they may not even know what it is all about yet. The league itself, and especially not the teams. So it's going to be a wild ride, but To reiterate, I think they really need to be stricter on the pro format as to not destroy the mainstream player base, because pros always break the game. If we had Pro Overwatch right now on our current live patch, the one that everybody loves, it would very likely be a very boring rushdown meta, because that's what we're seeing in the tier 2 tournaments that are currently going on. So I bring all this up in today's video to essentially say, let's enjoy this while it lasts. The community can reliably be outspoken when they don't like things, but I think we need to more reliably try to maintain what we have now by giving Blizzard the feedback that this is what we want. Overwatch needs to be a fun game to play first, and trying to achieve pro meta diversity can't come at the cost of ruining the game for the player base. The ball's in your court, Blizzard. We've got about 4 months to make sure this transition into the new game goes smoothly and doesn't break everything. Let's enjoy it while it lasts, and hopefully Overwatch 2 doesn't break Overwatch 1, and we can continue to let the good times roll into 2021. But that's everything for today's news roundup video. Let me know your thoughts on anything we discussed in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave it with a like. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and be sure to hit the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos go live. Link to the description is our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for Your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.